Conference. Across Wales today, dedicated professionals wake each morning with a simple mission: to build safer communities. Yet these committed public servants, our police officers, prison officers, probation workers, social workers, are swimming against a powerful tide. The system they serve betrays them at every turn. Conference, the criminal justice system in Wales isn't merely failing, it is actively sabotaging its own purpose. Short prison sentences destroy employment and family connections while offering no meaningful rehabilitation. These revolving doors create an endless cycle of reoffending that devastates communities, creates new victims, and wastes millions in taxpayers' money. Anyone who spent time in our courts or visited our prisons knows the truth. We see the same faces return again and again, caught in a system that punishes but rarely rehabilitates. Our prisons aren't just buildings. They're pressure cookers of human despair and dysfunction. Overcrowded, understaffed, underfunded. When that pressure releases, when inmates return to our streets without skills, support, or stability, we all feel the explosion. The ripple effects extend to families torn apart, communities living in fear, and a public losing faith in the very concept of justice. There's nothing tough about a system that makes people more dangerous, not less. The justice system in Wales operates like a broken machine. One gear in Cardiff, another in Westminster. The gears don't mesh, they grind, they break. Nothing works as it should. Our criminal justice landscape has become a bewildering labyrinth of divided responsibilities, with agencies heroically attempting to collaborate while hobbled by limited authority, inadequate funding, and conflicting priorities. Consider the absurdity of our current arrangement. Mental health provision devolved to Wales. Mental health support in prisons dictated by Whitehall. Drug treatment policy devolved to Wales. Drug courts and sentencing controlled by Westminster. Youth services devolved to Wales. Youth justice reserved at Westminster. This isn't just inefficient, it's irrational. The Thomas Commission recognized this fundamental problem, pointing to the fragmented governance that undermines our ability to create a coherent, effective justice system that works for Wales. We cannot ignore the profound human consequences when the system fails. Nadine Marshall's story underscores the tragedy with heartbreaking clarity. Her son Connor was brutally murdered by an offender under probation supervision, an offender whose risks weren't properly managed due to systemic failings. This wasn't just an isolated tragedy, but a symptom of a broken system. Nadine's experience starkly highlights what's at stake. This isn't about abstract policy debates or theoretical governance models. It's about preventing needless tragedies and protecting Welsh communities from harm that could be avoided with proper oversight and Welsh-focused solutions. What Wales needs is a fundamentally different approach, one built on three pillars: a Scandinavian-style youth justice system, a rehabilitation-focused probation service, and a national crime prevention agency. These three elements working together can transform our broken system into one that truly delivers justice, rehabilitation, and safer communities. Sut allwn ni drawsnewid system sydd mor sylfaenol wedi torri? Mae'r ateb yn glir. Dod â chyfiawnder adref i Gymru. Bydde datganoli cyfiawnder yn rhoi'r cyfle i newid yn ein dwylo ni yng Nghymru, ein cyfreithiau ni, ein llysoedd ni, ein gwasanaethau prawf ni, ein carchardai ni, ein blaenoriaethau ni, ein gwerthoedd ni. Beth fydde hyn yn ei olygu? System lle mae tai, gofal, iechyd meddwl a gwasanaethau ieuenctid yn gweithio mewn cydgord perffaith gyda pholisïau cyfiawnder, nid y jigsaw presennol gyda darnau wedi gwasgaru rhwng San Steffan a Senedd Cymru, darnau nad ydyn nhw byth yn ffitio'n iawn gyda'i gilydd. Byddai datganoli yn rhoi'r cyfle i ni greu system cyfiawnder i Gymru sydd ar sail ein gwerthoedd a'n anghenion ni. A gadewch i ni fod yn gwbl glir, does dim unrhyw beth meddal am fyny canlyniadau. Nid oes unrhyw beth meddal am bolisïau sy'n seiliedig ar dystiolaeth. Nid oes unrhyw beth meddal am greu llai o ddioddefwyr. Y dull gwirioneddol feddal yw glynu wrth bolisïau methedig sy'n swnio'n galed, ond sy'n cyflawni canlyniadau gwan. Y dull gwirioneddol feddal yw derbyn cyfraddau aildroseddu sydd prin wedi symud ers degawdau. Mai datganoli llawn yw ein dyhead ac annibyniaeth wrth gwrs yw ein nod yn y pen draw, mae gennym nawr gyfle ar gyfer cam cyntaf hanfodol, gyda phwerau cyfyngedig newydd wedi gaddo i Gymru dros gyfiawnder ieuenctid ar wasanaeth prawf. Mae hyn yn rhoi cyfle i ni ddangos yr hyn y gall cyfiawnder Cymreig ei gyflawni. Let me outline 3 priorities that will define Plaid Cymru's approach to building a safer, fairer Wales through the powers we've been promised. Our first priority is creating a Scandinavian-style youth justice system that breaks the cycle of offending before it becomes entrenched. Because if we truly want to change Wales, we must begin with our youth. Each child swept into the criminal justice system represents both a personal tragedy and a policy failure. Those working with young offenders know the pattern all too well. Vulnerable young people are disproportionately represented in our youth justice system. The current approach prioritizes punishment over prevention, process over people. We propose transforming it using Scandinavian principles of prevention and rehabilitation. Countries like Norway and Finland have shown that focusing on education and rehabilitation rather than punishment leads to fewer young people reoffending and more successfully reintegrates them into society. Our model will identify vulnerable young people early, not to label them, but to lift them up. We'll unite schools, healthcare and social services to wrap support around children before problems escalate into crimes. By addressing adverse childhood experiences and providing meaningful intervention at the first signs of trouble, we can divert young people from the criminal justice system altogether. When custody is necessary, it must occur in small therapeutic environments that heal rather than harm. No Welsh child should be processed as an adult criminal. Every Welsh child deserves genuine rehabilitation and a second chance at building a productive life. Our second priority is establishing a rehabilitation-focused probation service that genuinely reduces the risk of reoffending. Thousands of people are under probation supervision in Wales today. Their success or failure directly impacts our community's safety. The tragic case of Connor Marshall reminds us of the deadly consequences when probation fails. His murder by an offender under supervision demonstrates why probation cannot remain the forgotten pillar of criminal justice. Each probation failure represents a preventable tragedy waiting to happen. The current system has become fragmented and overlooked despite its critical role in community safety. The privatization experiment with probation services failed so badly it had to be reversed, a costly lesson in what happens when we treat public safety as profit centre, not public service. We will establish a Welsh-led probation service with manageable caseloads, intensive supervision, and person-centred approaches that address the real barriers to rehabilitation, whether mental health, addiction, or housing insecurity. Our probation officers will have the time, training, and resources to build meaningful relationships with those they supervise and intervene before risks escalate. Imagine an offender being released not into uncertainty, but into coordinated support, with housing secured, mental health treatment arranged, and employment opportunities identified. That's not just better for them, it's better for all of us. It's the difference between creating a productive citizen and perpetuating a cycle of crime. Our third priority is creating a national crime prevention agency. Each crime has two costs: the harm to the victim and the cost to society. Both are preventable. Prevention is more effective than reaction, more humane than punishment, more economical than imprisonment. Yet our current system invests almost everything at the wrong end, after crimes occur, after harm is done, after lives are damaged. We've built an expensive system focused on consequences rather than causes. Right here in Wales, Dr. Jonathan Shepherd pioneered the Cardiff violence prevention model, now replicated across the world. He was a dental surgeon, frustrated at having to try to repair the jaws of young people injured in bars. He developed an approach that used data from A&E departments to identify violence hotspots and then built targeted interventions from that knowledge. This Welsh innovation has significantly reduced violent incidents in and around Cardiff and around the world by addressing problems at their source. This is the essence of the public health approach to violence, treating violence like an epidemic that can be prevented, not an inevitable fact of life. The Welsh Violence Prevention Unit has built on this foundation, proving that violence isn't inevitable, it's preventable when we take the right approach. Our National Crime Prevention Agency will expand these evidence-based Welsh solutions to all forms of crime. Police and health services, schools and social workers, housing providers and community groups, all working together, all sharing information, all focused on prevention. This agency won't dictate from Cardiff Bay. It will empower local communities with the resources and expertise to develop solutions tailored to their unique challenges, whether county lines in our towns and valleys or rural crime in our countryside, because no one knows a community better than those who live in it. The vision I've outlined today is ambitious but achievable. It requires courage. It demands persistence. It needs a Plaid Cymru government to deliver it. Through our three key initiatives, a Scandinavian-style youth justice system, a rehabilitation-focused probation service, and a national crime prevention agency for Wales, we can create a Wales where justice truly serves its purpose. Imagine the Wales we can create together. A Wales where troubled young people find support instead of stigma, where they build skills, not criminal records, where they contribute to communities rather than harming them. A Wales where probation means genuine change, where the revolving prison door finally stops spinning. A Wales where we prevent crime before it happens, where we address causes, not just symptoms, where we coordinate resources to create safer communities from the ground up. This Wales isn't just possible, it's within our reach. It's the Wales our children deserve, it's the Wales our communities need, and it's the Wales that Plaid Cymru will work to create in the Cynhadledd, in Westminster, and in every town, village, and city across our nation. The justice system Wales deserves won't come from Westminster. It will come from Wales, from Welsh values, from Welsh communities, from Welsh determination to create something better. The time for change is now, and we in Plaid Cymru will deliver it together with the people of Wales. Diolch yn fawr.